Was poppin'. Welcome, Nicky and Moose. I'm Nicky. That's Moose. What's up, Moose?
What up, y'all?
And we have a very, very special edition, special guest, somebody who made a bunch of people into seven-figure earners, okay? 8 figures. It's a lot of air horns today, people, okay? Just today, well, I don't know if it was today. I just saw it today. There was a 300K day. It's a lot of numbers we're going to be talking about, people. We normally talk about the organic side of things. Now we got to talk about the paid situation. Listen, Moose, who we talking about? How you feeling? What we doing?
Nah, listen, you wore the right shirt to this one. I see the big money on the shirt, big 100 stacks. So, man, we talking about the one and only Damian Watts.
Listen, I'm telling you, it's air horns already. Let's just get into this intro.
2 kids from Queens, cut from a different cloth. Now joining forces, helping you to elevate your personal brand. Yeah, I'm talking about Nicky and Moose, bringing you a never-before-seen perspective into the mindset, the mentality, the behaviors, the driving force, but more importantly, the stories behind the people and brands that you know and love the most.
And you already know, before every episode, I got to say, we are powered by ECAMM Live, the #1 all-in-one streaming platform that allows us to have this podcast. Everything from a video side of things, audio side of things, where it does audio isolation, does the transitions, does the different scenes, everything you need to produce a high-quality podcast, bump podcast show, okay? Is all through ECAMM Live. So all you got to do for your 14-day free trial is go to www.nickyandmoose.com/ECAMM for your 14-day trial. You know what I mean?
There it is.
And listen, we're not going to wait. Let me bring my man Damien into the building. What's poppin'? How are you feeling?
Yo, what's going on, y'all? I'm feeling great. Appreciate y'all for having me.
Look, we got a lot to talk about, sir. We got a lot to talk about. You got time?
I got time today.
Oh, he got time today. Moose, start it off.
Man, let's get right into it, man. We are actually really excited to go over this because, a lot of times we really talk about those people who are front and center with their personality, with their brand, with their business. But as we all know, it's the people behind the scenes that are really moving and grooving and making things shake. So we're excited to have this conversation with you. But before we get into it, man, just give us a quick background around, who is Damian Watts, background story, what are you up to now? And we'll take it from there.
Yeah, man. So I don't want to kind of repeat things as far as like what I said on the last one, but I'm a college ball player, man. I come from sports. So it was very easy for me to kind of transition into the business world. Some people deal with adversity. There's a lot of challenges. There's teamwork that you have to deal with. So there's a lot of things as far as like synergy when it comes from sports and business. So that's where I started, right? And how it kind of evolved is immediately after college, man, I did the whole thing the right way, right? Parents tell you go to college. I went and got a master's. I did the whole shebang, and I don't use any of that today, which is crazy. But immediately after college, I got a job. I've always been really good with numbers, right? So with me being in the digital marketing space, running ads and doing things for brand owners these days, there's a lot of synergy there. I was looking at spreadsheets all day at the job, and about 9 months into that job, I decided that it was time to shake some things up. During that job, I was already working on some things. So I know a lot of people, they talk about, firing your job and doing those things. But I use that job as an opportunity to create the side hustle, right? And I stumbled upon a course from Tai Lopez, and it kind of sparked my interest around digital marketing as a whole. Now, it was more around local businesses, so dentists, facilities, chiropractors, things of that nature. But I immediately got into the e-commerce world because there was a global effect that I can have on a brand. And once I got done with that, I stumbled into the info product space, and from there, it was off to the races.
Wow.
Sheesh. Look, I met you at a Him 500 event, and when we talked, you were really like behind the scenes,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Like that, you were like, Nikki, I need help with content. We just never even connected because it was just like more. You were so busy with what you were doing, and we'll get into that. But for the people who do work behind the scenes, right? What was something that clicked for you that made you feel a little bit more comfortable being like, you know what? I got to show up a little bit more. Now I got to post a little bit more to show people, because some people will feel like it's braggadocious. Like, yo, I did this, did that. But you're seeing a lot of traffic come to you based off doing that. So can you talk about that transition from going from behind the scenes to stepping into a little bit of the front runner, not all the way, but a little bit of the front runner to bring that traffic?
Yeah, I think that for me, I was cool with being behind the scenes. I was cool with not coming out. I was cool with making people a lot of money and just kind of owning that, right? I'm more of a family guy than anything. I don't do the flash and the things of that nature, but there's no problem with that. It just doesn't fit my personality, right? I'm an introvert at heart, but at the end of the day, in my world, you got to be able to sell, you got to be able to communicate, you got to be able to do those things. So I figured that what really made the transition for me kind of come about and happen was the people that were being affected by me not coming out, right?
Mm.
So I was doing the industry a disservice by staying behind the scenes, because there's a lot of information that I see on the market right now to date that I believe is incorrect. Now, there's a million ways to skin a cat and make money online, but I have a really, really good solution that can help save a lot of people. And me staying behind the scenes, like I said, I'm doing the world a disservice. So that's kind of what pushed me out from behind the scenes.
Mm.
Man, that's good. That's good. Tell us a little bit more about what you're doing today, man. I don't know that we covered that just yet, but obviously you talked about digital marketing.
I just
But
want to know
what is
who he was. Yeah, I mean, I just want to know his personal life.
what does that look like today?
Oh man, it's kind of evolved, man. I've been doing this for about 7 years, right? And what started as an ad guy evolved into a business freaking strategist, business beast. Because with me, like I started off with, like I said, the e-commerce space, right? So I stumbled upon some really big brands, some nine-figure companies, and I had a lot of data insights. And before I got into like the Black community and bringing this over to this world, because again, like during that time, Black entrepreneurship wasn't as popping as it is now. Like it really got popping like 2019, definitely 2020. But before that, there weren't that many entrepreneurs. Like the first person that I had come across that was kind of doing some pretty decent things was Jay Morrison. He was the first like influencer that I kind of got into business with when it comes to the info product side. And on my side, like when it comes to like the ads, the one thing that people don't talk about is, why do you run ads? You run ads to get data, right? And no, everybody talks about the sales and the conversions, but I have so many data points and so much data insights that you guys wouldn't believe what I would be able to do with the data, right? That's what Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Google, like they're data companies, right? They house this data and they give you the ability to target specific people. I have access to a lot of data. I spend millions and millions of dollars online, generated over 375. Like I'm trying to get to the billion mark as far as generated sales for people. But what I come across and what I found is that I'm working on a one-to-one basis, right? A person comes in, I help build their brand. That's one-to-one. I wanted to figure out a way to get to one-to-many. So when you ask, what am I doing now? I literally just made an announcement closing down the ad agency. We're going to focus on our growth partners, and I'll get into that a little later. But my goal is to put out all of this IP, because I don't have any IP online right now. So you can't go and find a course. You can't go and find a program. So my goal is to put out all of my IP. And I know for a fact that whenever I release it, I'm like, people are going to I know they're going to make money. There's no way they don't make money unless they just ain't got it in them.
Sheesh, hold on. That needs a... Sorry. This needs that. Hold on. Okay, so man, I really want to get into getting away from the client side already, but we'll leave that. We'll leave that. Okay. You mentioned something as far as you working with 9-figure brands, right? I actually want to ask, if you can name 3 mistakes, because we talk about 7 figures, you talk about 8, but it's very rare when you hear somebody who's had experience on some 9-figure brands behind the scenes. What do you think is 3 mistakes people are making that, from a mindset kind of wise, to where they haven't even thought about the 9-figure situation just yet? Like, what, even from 5 figures, 6 figures, I mean, what is some of the mistakes that people are making that it's not even coming across? Like, yo, I worked with them before. Like, there is 9-figure brands. What's up? What are we doing?
Yeah, I think that the first mistake is, especially when you're talking about owning a business and trying to scale it, in our community, no one really talks about lifetime value of their customers. Right. So I feel like that's the first big thing that I see as a mistake is everyone's so transactional on the front end, and they're not focused on the back end and keeping people and continuing to sell the people that you bought. And I think that that's like the first mistake that I see within our community, because again, everything is so transactional on the front end. How can I make the most money on the front end when that's more of like a one-off, right? And people aren't focusing on how do I continue to get those people to buy more. So when I say mistakes, people typically don't create enough offers, right? Because if people are rocking with you, they come and buy from you, more than likely they'll buy more. And no one really focuses on getting them to buy more. And with those 9-figure companies, I mean, they got offers left and right? So that's the first thing. I think the second thing is being afraid to spend. Because when you get into this online world, I got people to this day, and again, like when I talk about me closing down the ad agency, I'm closing down the ad agency. I'm keeping clients who are about that life, honestly. Like I keep it transparent. Like the people who are willing to grow and they want to level up, like I want to focus all of my attention on scale, right? The management side of things where you just come in and you just media buy and you handle people operations, that's cool. I know people who can do that. But from my side, I'm trying to figure out how to get as many people to 7 figures as possible. And if people got it in them, I want to help them get to 8 figures. Now, I haven't had a company starting from scratch getting to 9, but I'm working on it, right? I want to be able to have that case study of I took that person from 0 to $100 million. I'm going to be one of those case studies. I know that for a fact because I'm building something completely different on the side. And then when you talk about like that third mistake, like what I see in the space as a whole, outside of LTV, outside of being afraid to spend, like they really don't focus on building a tribe, right? So the community aspect of everything, like when you look at Nike, when you look at all these companies, like they got a tribe, like people rock their stuff to the core. Like, so I think that those are the 3 things that I see that don't happen for most of the brands is everything is pretty much transactional. Everyone's competing with each other. Oh, this person is making this much. What can I do to make this much? It's not like focused on what actually matters, the customers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm trying to be one of those people.
I feel like there's got to be a lot of double backing on some of these questions. But man, I just want to go back to something you said earlier, which I think is so powerful. You said, you run ads to get data. I thought you were going to say traffic. I'm just like, oh yeah, you run ads to get traffic. But you said you run ads to get data. And I'm like, wait a second. We need to expand on that a little bit more because I noticed that you said also one of the mistakes is not enough offers. So I'm wondering, does the data let you know that people who aren't as successful don't have enough offers? And if so, what are some of the ingredients you would say make up a successful offer?
Ooh, the first thing that makes up a successful offer is actual fulfillment, right? So especially if you're talking about the info product space, the fulfillment is everything. When you're talking about Ecomm, it really comes down to quality of the individual products. And, with Amazon in the space, you got to have speed, right? People want their stuff on time at the door when you say it's going to be there, not a second after, right? So I think that when you talk about ingredients, like the people who win in this game, it all comes down to fulfillment. And the crazy thing is I've scaled so many brands who didn't focus on fulfillment. And it came back to bite them in the butt But again, like there's only so much that we could control. And when you start making, and I think that's another thing that is a very good topic around, especially in our community, when it comes to seeing this type of money inside of your bank account that you've never seen before, right? So miss money management, like all of these things that are happening, like when you get this influx of cash, it makes it to where it's just like it's a line you gotta draw in the sand of I'm gonna continue doing what I started out to do, or it's like, all right, I'm gonna sit back and make this bread and live the life and travel and do those things, which there is a fine line that you can do both. It's just a matter of the person at the end of the day. Egos can get in the way, all these different things. So when you talk about ingredients, it's just like the biggest thing is actually just fulfillment and having a solid a solution to someone's problem. Like at the end of the day, that's all the ad game is about, is putting the solution in front of the right person who's dealing with a certain problem that they're facing.
So good. Now, I want to get in my bag a little bit because I'm, I would say, queen of organic content, right? Now, I want to have the conversation of, is it a organic versus paid when it comes to the strategies that you've used, or is it how do we combine both in order to get these offers in front of the people, get people to trust us, get people to convert? Like, how do you look at when it comes to the organic side of content and the paid side of content?
They go hand in hand. Honestly, they go hand in hand. I don't recommend anyone be doing organic and not paid, and I don't recommend anyone just do paid and not do organic. It has to be a collaborative effort. It has to be combined, right? So when it comes to us on our side, what I'm looking at is, and I'm going to speak on Him 500 for a sec.
Right.
For Him 500, when we were running the combination of his social ads and taking those social ads and put them into paid, it's kind of what you're seeing happen right now with the TikTok side of things. The TikTok organic style, the real style, the story style, in that form, like foundation of the actual ad, that's really what we were doing for a lot of those brands. We were taking their social organic content, putting it into ads. And now, like when you see like these bigger companies, they're not using the big production style ads anymore. It's the more organic, more authentic, more genuine type of content. Now, there is specific styles per each individual platform. But when you talk about strategy, you talk about what we're seeing on our side, like there has to be that combination. And on our side, like when we look at paid, I think every influencer, every person online should at least have retargeting on their ads. Like if you do nothing else, just have retargeting, because when you think about organic and the reach with organic, it's just dimming day after day. And I know that for a fact, due to some of the influencers that we work with, the algorithm changes every 2 weeks. So when you're looking at, oh, okay, well, I do this and I get this much engagement. I do this and I don't get as much. Like we look at this as a test. So on our side, when we're looking at organic, we are using organic as a measure or a metric to pull things into the paid world, right? So we're using the organic side is more of like a test for us. Hey, go post the content about this and let's see how it does. Oh, it took off. It's going viral. All right, let's figure out a way to put that into paid ads, right? So we may have to change a couple things, add a hook, add a body, add a call to action, but that is a control that we can use and bring into the paid ads world. Now, there are some foundations and things that we already know is going to work. But like back in like 2020, we used to could get away with what we call in our world top of funnel, middle funnel, and bottom of funnel. We used to have scripts for top of funnel, scripts for middle, and scripts for bottom. Now it's more like, all right, here's the things that we know that works. How can we take what you're doing in organic, plug it into this system, and then formulate an ad that feels organic? And that's what's working the best for us right now.
That's good. That's good. Sorry, people, if that went over your head. For the people who don't know what retargeting is, can you break down what retargeting is real quick? Because I'm like, oh, I geeked out real quick. Me and you understood it. I was like, I don't know if everybody else did.
Yeah, no. So in our world, we have what we call, when I mentioned top of funnel, middle funnel, and bottom of funnel. So top of funnel is going to be your people who have never heard of you before, right? So you're trying to get in front of new eyeballs. The middle of funnel is going to be what we call our re-engagement. So people who are clickers on your ads, people who are engagers on your social media channels, people who watch your videos before they actually make it to the site. That's what we call middle of funnel. And there's a specific message that you have to continue to push people further down to the conversion. And then you have bottom of funnel, which is what we call retargeting or remarketing. And that's where every person should have that, because you can go after all of your audiences. You can reach all of your people better. You can get your message in front of more people. So I think that when you talk about retargeting, it's more of getting people who are already engaged to continue to see your content, to reach more of those people. You may make a post, you may have 100,000 followers, but you're only getting 2,000 views on a video. Well, if you run retargeting ads, you can reach more of those people because you can put a specific message to target those people who engage with each individual post that you make on your social media channels.
People, we going techie, just so you understand. He knows what he's talking about, people. He knows what he's talking about. Hey, we don't go this techie normally. We don't go.
Yeah, no, that's phenomenal. Damien, can you talk about what is, say, a good place for someone to start at when they're running ads? Because I think the one thing that I probably still see in our community, and this is not just for people who are starting off, quite honestly, it's even for people who have knee deep into the game, they're very against running ads. To them, it's not organic. It's not authentic. It's almost like a cheating way of doing things. Can you talk about just that mindset or mentality? And then on top of that, how would you suggest someone go about getting into ads? What's the ABCs of getting ads rolling?
How much should they spend?
Look, I think that what we tell people, I have a totally different mindset around it, right? Because in my world, experience really does matter, because you have to build up confidence to be able to spend 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, $100,000 in one day, right? Because one wrong move, you're getting fired, right? So like when you talk about, people getting into the game, it's a pet peeve of mine when I hear people say, I've made all of this money online organically and I didn't make anything via paid. To me, all that screams is you just missed out on a whole bunch of money. Why? Because you're not reaching, like if you make money from your organic, everyone knows you're not reaching all of your audience. Why not put yourself in the best position to reach more of that audience if you already have something that's converting? So I definitely, like, that's one of my biggest pet peeves is, I made $1 million through organic. That's good for you, but I could have made you 5. Right. So that's where my mindset is when it comes to the organic side. Everybody needs to be running paid ads. It doesn't make sense not to, because at the end of the day, Facebook knows your audience, Instagram, like all of these platforms, they know who is going to buy from you. Again, this is why we want so much data, because we can feed this data back into the algorithm and it'll just continue to feed us people based on the data points and the things that we tell it that we want to get. So I think that that's a big misconception is if you're making a lot of money online organically, it's a cardinal sin not to have ads. Like that's like the first thing for me. Like if I really wanted to go hard and just start poaching and looking and seeing who I want to bring into my ecosystem, I'll just go into Facebook ad library, see if they got anything running. If I don't see anything, that's an immediate client. And then like when you ask about the spend and like how much do you have to spend to get into the game? I mean, when people came to us when they didn't have anything as far as like any revenue being generated for their brands, we started out with $5,000, $10,000 a month. Now that doesn't mean you're going to spend that much. That just means that that's a budget that you need to put as far as like a bare minimum mindset shift when you come into the game. And if you're smart about it, like I got a person that's trying to come in right now and they're like, I don't have any credit cards. I don't have this. I don't have that. Well, I would recommend do it with the credit card. Why? It gives you a 30-day window. It gives you a 30-day window so you can go and test some things out. And if you're with the right team and you have a good offer and you have the things in place that you need to have in place, proper front end, proper back end, you're going to make money. As long as you have a solid offer, as long as you have good creatives, and as long as you're solving a problem, you're going to make money.
Sheesh. Okay. So, man, I could go so many different ways. Now, we talked a little bit about funnels. I actually have a question, right? This was something that was a battle probably about 2-3 years ago, right? a sales funnel versus a website, right? Where, some people are super big on getting the 30, 50K website that doesn't really convert anything to where, then you have a site that's everything that you click through is a funnel, right? What do you recommend? What is the benefits, the pros, the cons of that kind of setup? Whether it is you recommend, let's do the funnel side of things, or let's have the website and then maybe one or two things going into a funnel. What's your thoughts on that?
That's a really good question. It really comes down to who is doing it, right? Meaning, who's the person that we're talking about here? Let's just say we're talking about Grant Cardone, right?
Yep.
It would make sense for Grant Cardone to have a website and sales funnels. Why? Because he has the brand recognition, he has the brand authority. People, they recognize him. And when you think about the buyers online, you think about the engagers, right? The millennials and the people who are, let's just say, 15 to 40, right? They may be more accustomed to going through a sales funnel because that's what's been pushed down their throat for the majority of their lifespan. A website, when you have your 50 to like 80 years olds, right? They're not going to be as susceptible to a sales funnel. They're going to want to go and read the about section, and they might want to get to the contact us now, right? So I think that if you are a public figure, you need to have both. Now, on my side, I don't think that websites are it at all. Why? Because it's the same reason why in the e-commerce space, I don't send people directly to a home page. I always send it to a collection page, or I send it to a product page. The home page gives people too many options, right? At the end of the day, you want to have a direct, that's why people call it direct response marketing. That's why you want to have direct conversions, right? So I want to send them to a sales funnel that has a very specific message for that individual person at that time. And I only want them to do one thing, buy. I don't want them going to the hamburger menu in the top or the navigation bar clicking around, because the longer that they're on the site messing around, the opportunities increase for bounce rate. They're going to leave. Eventually, with attention spans just getting shorter and shorter, they're going to get distracted at some point. Maybe it's a phone call. Maybe it's the kids. They're going to get distracted and they're going to leave. So why not have a dedicated sales message to an individual selling a or many products on that page? And again, you want to be careful with how many things that you have going on in one page, because again, you can create buyer's remorse. But I say focus on a sales funnel versus a website for sure in this day and age. But I think that it also depends on who you are as an individual. Like Dan Locke, Grant Cardone, Gary Vee, they're all going to have websites. E.T., he's going to have a website, right? But that's for authority, that's for credibility, that's for all of those things. And people want to just go and see what he's done. You could put more things on there. Some people may want to look at and see if you have YouTube videos, maybe you have a podcast. They want to go and search, right? But most people online, when you go from ad to either website or funnel, if you take them to a website, your conversions are probably going to be crap because you're giving them too many options.
Man, hey, I'm gonna just do a quick intermission real quick because I'm like, yo, we are.
Look at the notes.
I don't know
Look
if
at
y'all
the
can
notes.
see, bro. I don't know if you can see this, but I'm talking about 20 minutes in. So I just want to give people a time to like, all right, hold up, breathe. You know what I'm saying?
Y'all gotta
Stretch if you
rewind
have
this.
to.
Y'all gotta rewind this.
Bro, this is incredible information, and I like your just mentality and approach to it in saying, unfortunately, our community has not had access to the real reason why. Like they see the what, but they don't know the stuff going on behind it. Can you talk about, and I want to jump into some of the growth partners and the one-to-many stuff that, you're focused on going into next. I'm sure people are interested in that. But can you give some examples or maybe some warning flags that people should look out for to let them know that this is not working? It's like, whoa, don't do this. Stop. Abort the mission now. What are some of those red flags?
Man, when it comes to red flags, there's so many, right? People teach things online when it comes to imperfection, right? Launch imperfectively, right? So I think that that's one of the things where I disagree. My mentor probably choked me right now for saying that, because like on my side, I am too much of trying to be a perfectionist. That's probably a big reason why I don't have any products online, because I'm just like, all right, when I come out here, I got to come correct. But like some of the things that when I see companies come in, and the biggest red flags is they're just launching a product, or they're launching a product with no back end. They don't have any email follow up. They don't have SMS. They don't have the automations. Like all of that stuff is super important. And if you don't have those things in place, you're just going to bombard yourself. You're going to run into customer service nightmares, especially if you have a good product offering. People are going to want to buy. How are they getting it? What is the fulfillment like? How long does it take? Like all of those things. Like when people come to us, they're just like, hey, I got this great idea. I want to launch. Let's go. And I'm like, okay, we can launch, but what is the first thing a person is going to get whenever they purchase? It's like, they're going to get the product. That's it. Are you going to, tell them thank you? Like what's the messaging on the back end? Is there anything post purchase? Is there anything that you have anything else to upsell them? Like what's the process and what's the flow? And like, that's typically the first thing that I see is people launch because they believe that they have something, but their foundation isn't set. Like I'm all about foundations and I'm all about operations, and I hate headaches. Like it may take me longer to get something done, but when I'm done, it's going to be done and it's going to be good. Why? Because I know all of the steps that need to be in place. And when people come to us and they say, hey, I have this product and I have one upsell, that's great. That's the first start. But what is the journey? And when I talked about earlier, lifetime value of customers and increasing your average order value, all of these things, not having a foundation in place to nurture people and continue to push them up an ascension ladder, like that's a huge mistake that I see people come into the market with. Because when you look at the advertising world is very competitive, right? There's a lot of people out here spending money. There's a lot of people within your niche, and you got to come to the plate ready to swing for some home runs. And you won't do that if you don't have a foundation in place. The name of the game is whoever can spend the most to acquire customers typically wins. So you're putting yourself at a disadvantage by not putting these things in place whenever you come into the advertising game.
I got a side note because you said something and it triggered me, right? You said, maybe this is why it's taking me so long to put out my course and things like that. As a person, because I think I struggle with this at the same time, as a person who works behind the scenes of some major brands, like, do you struggle with, like, I do it for others, but when it comes to me, maybe I think it has to be this way, or I just rather somebody else take care of it for me because I'm so busy doing these things? And like, how do you combat that? Like, I know you're coming out with some super dope that because of the announcement, we're going to get to that. But like, how do you battle being the behind the scenes person now? Okay, I got to put something out. What in the world? Like, I can't say I'm dope at this and there's nothing to really show. Like, how do you battle that?
Yeah, I think for me, the biggest thing is what we talk about all the time is content. Like, I feel like I'm probably like the biggest hypocrite on the planet when I say, all right, client, I need you to do this, this, and this, and go post on content after they tell me, I'm not that really good behind the camera. I don't really want to be on social media. I'm the same way. So I feel like a hypocrite because I'm telling them what to do, but then I won't get on social media and actually do the thing. So I feel like when it comes to like products and things of that nature, it's not about trying to be perfect in launching it. It's more around, all right, I know what works. I know you got to promote it. I know you got to do these things. I have no problem putting my face behind an ad. I have no problem getting onto a podcast. But when it comes to posting social media content, and I'm sitting here thinking for hours, like, all right, what I want to post. It takes me so long to shoot a piece of social media content, and I can go shoot an ad in, 10 minutes, but a social media post, it's going to be there forever, right? Unless
but does it come easy for you to tell other people what they should be? Okay, so what do you think is the disconnect as far as like, I could tell in 3 seconds, you got to do this, right? But for me, there's a disconnect for some reason. Like, what do you think is that disconnect?
On my side, it's just fear. It's just putting out content and just letting it stick out there. So, I mean, I can be as transparent as possible. It's just fear. I'm like I said, being an introvert, I don't really care to post on social media. I don't care to do these things. So it's like, all right, first I got the I don't care. Then it's like this fear of what are people gonna think? What are they gonna say? Like, is it good? It's just all of those, insecurities that typically come to play. But I would say that was more like a 2020 type deal. Like now it's just like I just been so busy I haven't had time to post, or I can use that. I keep using that as an excuse not to post.
Right.
But now it's like I want all the smoke.
Now, I will say real quick, Moose, I had to give him his flowers because once I started seeing his content, I was like, okay, I see what you're doing.
Come on.
All right.
Come
Yeah.
on.
But then it built that curiosity of like, hold on, do I need this? Like, wait, what is he doing? Like, he had a mastermind. I was like, do I need to be at this mastermind? I have no business being at this. I need to get somebody else to do that. But yeah, the content's working, my guy. I just will say that.
Yeah. Damien, man, I don't know. I think we might have been brothers in a past lifetime or something, because you talked about, you know what I'm saying, just a lot of different things. You said hitting home runs. I'm like, hold up. Nah, are we related? What's going on here? Nah, this is incredible, man. I want to ask you one question before we go to the $300,000 day. I don't want us to skip that.
Oh, yeah, we're not. That's like my next one.
That's important. But if someone was, people who have heard everything under the sun as it relates to information when it comes to digital marketing, online branding, the whole nine. If you were to just help erase someone's entire mind and left them with this launch blueprint strategy to get going tomorrow, where should they start? What's included in it?
Man, that's a tough question. The reason that question is tough because I didn't limit myself like most people did in this space. In our space, people are what we call specialists, right? So you have a Facebook specialist, a Google specialist, a funnel specialist, email marketing specialist. I attacked this space very early on because I saw a huge gap in this space, which is what I'm calling omnichannel. Like nobody does it all, right? And I know people talk about jack of all trades, blah, blah, all that whole nonsense. Like the fact that I understand every component from A to Z, that puts me into a whole different category, right? I hate when people come to my world and say, you're just an ads guy, right? They devalue ads people because there's so many, right? But when I look at the grand scheme of things, it's like, yeah, I'm an ad guy, but I can also write your copy. I can also build your funnel. I can also come up with your product offerings. I can also tell you what to create. So I'm more of a business strategist than anything. And I had someone on a call today ask me that same question around like, where should I start? Right? What is it that I should be doing? I'm just now getting out here. They had watched the Ash Cash podcast and they're like, I just want to go. I want to get into this online space. I was really inspired by some of the things that you said. And I look at it as take what you know, bundle it up into a product and sell it. It's just that simple, right? But again, there is a foundation that needs to be set. Like, I don't recommend anybody come out here and just sell a product, right? I got people that sells products that don't even have products, right? They pre-sell things. They do this, they do that. That's a great strategy. But then at the end of the day, I believe that that's going to create more of a headache than anything because now that clock is ticking, right? That clock is ticking on, I got to hurry up and fulfill. People are anxious and like that can create a storm, especially if you have the right people behind it. Like we had a company, Actively Black, right? They do a lot of pre-sales. And with their pre-sales, like they deliver on the pre-sales, but it might be 30 days, it might be 60 days, and people are still buying these products. Obviously, he's built a good brand, he has the reputation, etc. But I'd be nervous and I'd be like, man, I don't think people are gonna come in here and buy this stuff. And he'll sell out. Like he'll know how much inventory is gonna come in. It'll be coming from wherever manufacturer that he has. And then it'll end up selling out. So, I'm not always right. And that's what I love about my space is like, there's not one way to do a thing, right? So this gives us the ability to split test a lot of things. And like, when you ask that question, like, if someone's coming into the game, just come to the game and just understand these three things. You need to have an offer. You need to have a price point that matches that offer and that fits the market. And then you need to have a foundation. I'm not even going to say a funnel or just this. You need to have a foundation, a follow-up sequence, some post-purchase, something for if someone abandons, Like, how can you nurture them to bring them back into your ecosystem? You need to have a foundation, offer, good pricing, and a foundation.
Just game after game after game. All right, let's talk about it, because I was going to get sidetracked again, but let's talk about it. We already hinted to it several times, but let's properly ask, what is the biggest sale that you've made to date, and can you break down a little bit of the how? I know you can't say it all, but there's little clues you definitely can leave. What is that amount, and how did you even get to that part?
Look, I told you I was coming to drop some sauce. So
Hey.
on my side, I want to give you the entire breakdown. So on my side, when it comes to that sale, my previous record was $200,000 in one sale. Now, when I say sale, I don't mean $200,000 in a day based off of volume. I'm talking about one sale, right? So one product for $200,000 was my previous biggest day, or biggest. What was it? It came in like, whenever the phone call ended is when we got the sale. The biggest to date is now 300,000. And what I've found in this space right now is it just keeps evolving, right? It used to be courses were really hot. Then it was do it with you. Now it's done for you, right? They've gotten to this sense of, since more and more people are talking about passive income, like, I believe it's making people lazy. Like, they go make some money and then they're like, all right, how can I make more money by investing this money into something? So this is why you see, the Amazon automations, the trucking automations, the Airbnb automate, like all of these automation plays, they're all just done for you solutions. You pay me a specific amount of money. I will do everything for you. We'll split the money based on the profits, and you'll make passive income every single month without having to lift a finger, right? So that's what that $300,000 sale was. It was a person came in, he was an investor. He came in and said, I want to put my money into something. And once we presented the offer, he was like, I want 6 of them. So he bought 6 $50,000 products for him and his family. So everybody in that household now has an e-commerce store. So this was an e-commerce automation offer. And the way that it came together is I help companies, again, like I said, not just an ads guy. We help with the product development side of things. Like, when you look at the Shopify and the Amazons and all these things, this was a Shopify offer. And with that Shopify offer, I have multiple Shopify offers that are on the back end. But with this particular one, he gave me the ability to create the offer. And since I'm in like the 9-figure companies that we worked with, they were all e-commerce brands. And when you talk about, some of the things that we do within the 9-figure space, and the things that people, again, it's a big gap, is those people are spending to acquire as many customers as possible. Why? Because they understand their LTV. They understand if a person comes in and buys a $200,000 product and you can get 5, 6, 7,000 out of that person over the lifetime of that customer, you got to spend. And that's what some of the things that I'm bringing into the community, because I found out, okay, this is what they're doing. And the problem is that there has to be a mindset shift. And that mindset shift is, all right, I got to get on here and spend money, but I'm scared to spend money. So I have to like educate a lot of people around that. But when it comes to like that particular product offering, since I'm in that e-commerce space, I know what people want. I know that space from A to Z, all the way through to the customer service side. So we put together the offer, and it's like, when you talk about irresistible, it's irresistible. Like, there's no way, like, the guarantees and the risk reversal that we put into this offer is like impeccable, honestly. You'd be crazy not to give that person $50,000 for that offer. So when you talk about like, what did we do? We put together the product offering. We put it into one of our best selling funnels. So whenever I talk about funnels, and I know there's a lot of people out there that build funnels. You can get that work done overseas. You can get that done work in the States. People build funnels. I don't build funnels. I build frameworks, right? I take the frameworks that I know have already been proven to work consistently, 6-figure frameworks, 7-figure frameworks, and obviously some 8-figure frameworks. We take those frameworks and we plug them into these businesses. And with this particular one, it's just a high ticket funnel. Now we've evolved this funnel over time, but with that high ticket, what it means is we're just selling high ticket products for the people who may not know what that is. We've evolved this funnel over time, and I can tell you about that evolution. The first evolution phase was sending people to an opt-in page where we capture their information. We then take them to a video sales letter page where we have it with social proof, 8 to 25, 30-minute video explaining the opportunity. And then we have a button for them to apply. And then we would take them to an apply page for an application, because that's our filtering mechanism. So with that filtering system, we're then able to, if a person is not qualified, maybe it's credit score, maybe it's the amount of revenue that they make, maybe it's what they want to make, whatever that filtering question is, we call it logic based. We'll send them either to a phone call to give them the opportunity to learn more, or we'll send them to a course or a lower ticket product because they're not ready. And then we would take them to a just a thank you page. And on that thank you page, this is where it gets real freaky. And this page here has solved so many problems. At first, the first evolution of this product or this page was you hit them with a thank you video and you let them know what's coming. Now, the evolution of it is we take them directly to the VSL page. We have a shorter application, or we remove the application page as a whole. We take them straight to book a call. And then that thank you page has turned into a huge FAQ page, right? So before they actually get to the call, we hit them with like all of the frequently asked questions. How fast is it going to take for me to make my money back? All of these individual questions that people typically have on the call, we give it to them right there on the page. So when they come to that call, they're already pre-framed. They know exactly how long it's going to take. They know exactly how much it's going to cost. They know all of these things so that if they make it to the call and actually show up, which that page, after we add it and turn it into an FAQ, it increased the show up rate by 30%. And that's the biggest thing within the webinar space or the high ticket space, is getting people to actually show up to the book call or to the event that you have set forward. And once we implemented that, man, the sales just got crazy, right? Because they're getting on the call ready to buy. There's not a lot of pitching. Most of these calls are closing within a 5-10 minute window because we've answered all the questions that they would typically have.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. Hey, listen, I'm sure everyone is now wondering, all right, how can we work? What are you doing? What is next? Tell us about, you mentioned growth partners, and then of course you mentioned going one to many. What's in the oven there? What's next?
Yeah, you getting out of the client side. What we doing?
Man, look, this is this was a tough decision. This was probably one of the toughest decisions that I made since being in business. Because at the end of the day, like, I really do this for the impact. If I didn't do it for the impact, I would have been out here talking my stuff a long time ago. But like now it's like, okay, there's a bigger play at stake, right? Our community, like when I go to these events and I do these things and I'm starting to see entrepreneurship in our community just rise, right? Just continuing to rise. More people are wanting to become entrepreneurs. More people are wanting to control their time. It's just time to make that transition. Now, from a client standpoint, one of the reasons why is, in my world, I deal with a lot of different personality types. And it can sometimes be daunting. It can be overwhelming. It can be frustrating because at the end of the day, I have the client's best interest at heart. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much money you make an individual, they will still leave, right? And I'm a big relationship person. So if I take my time to build a relationship, I make you all of this money and someone comes and dangles a carrot and now it's like, okay, well, I'm at 10 million now. I want to get to 100 million and I believe that they have the solution. I can't tell you how many people that we've gotten to 8 figures, they leave and then they come back within a 3-month period. Right. So it's just like in this space, it's a big churn situation that people deal with. Now, I've been very fortunate to build the relationships on the front end and obviously get results that if you can do that, the relationship is solid, right? So my churn rate on average before 2021 was about a 2.5, which means that a person would come through my brand and stay for about 2 years and 5 months before they leave. That's not normal in our space. The typical churn rate in our space is about 3 to 6 months.
Yep.
So after the pandemic hit, oh man, the brands kind of took off. Him 500 hit $1 million a day. Neo backdoor, Joshua hit backdoor. Like everything was just kind of just exploding all at the same time. So they were like, all right, well, shoot, I'm going to just tell everybody about you. And we went from like 45 clients to like 85 clients in 2 months. And that churn came because we were bringing in so many people who didn't understand the mindset of you got to spend to win, you got to spend to play. We didn't realize that the community really didn't understand the pay to play system. So we ran into a churn rate. We went from 45 to 85, and then we went back down to like 60 very quickly within a 6-month period, which wasn't normal. So it dropped our stuff down to about a 1.5 versus a 2.5. And at that point, I was like, all right, that's what kind of triggered our community needs more education around getting into this world because it's so new. Most people, that if they spend some money, they're going to want to make it back immediately. That's not how this game works. Like you got to spend money to buy data. Like you said earlier, Nick, or Moose, sorry. When you said earlier, I'm not paying for traffic, even though that's what it is. I'm buying data. I need data to be able to give to it so that I can say, hey, look, I know that a person that is 25 to 35, this is your audience. More females are buying your product. And I can get down to a consensus through the breakdown, and I can tell you exactly who your audience is, who's going to buy based on the data. It's not the traffic is just it's going to happen, right? Like the traffic is going to come. But on our side, like when it comes to the clients, I just want people to have the right mindset around winning. At the end of the day, like I come from the sports world, I want to win. I don't want to just be complacent and just be okay with, I'm making $50,000 a month, I'm good. Well, that may be good for you. That's not good for me because I see way more opportunity. But the limiting beliefs in their mindset holds them back from getting to that next level. So now my mission is to come back to the roots, plant the seeds, and see what happens from a blossoming standpoint. So now from an agency, I'm going to focus like all of our attention, obviously on the clients that we have and the clients that we didn't offboard because of limiting beliefs. We're going to crush their stuff. We're going to continue to do what we do best. But this new system that we've created, which is the other portion of why the client system, it's a means to an end, is you don't get paid what you're worth in a client situation. Now, when I say pay what you're worth, I don't want that to sound like egotistic or anything of that nature. It's more around the lines of I've created so many millionaires, it's not even funny, right? But they were in a client situation. So my client situation, I have a retainer and I get a percentage of what I produce, right? Now that all comes down to me, right? Not charging what I'm worth. So there's a two-way street there of having a product that fits a market that isn't used to that mindset of you got to spend to play. So I have to put a product that fits the market, right? So the price point had to fit the market. Now I look at the situation and I say, man, I just made this guy $10 million. He probably spent 1 or 2, and I only made X. And that X ain't as much as that $8 million gap, right? Now, I'm not counting people's pockets. I'm not doing anything of that nature. I'm just saying, all right, I think it's time for a shift. So that's where the growth partner situation came into play. I don't get any retainers on the growth partner side. You're going to pay me a setup fee, and I'm going to go set up all of what we're calling our 8-figure plays. Now, this 8-figure play system that I've created, which is the name of the company, it's all of the different plays that we've done that have created 8 figures. Webinars, challenges, courses, masterminds. We're taking all of these components and putting into the growth partner situation. So when a client comes through our door, we typically focus on what they have, right? If you come to us with a course, we're going to help you scale your course. We'll make suggestions. We'll give you recommendations. But again, with the limiting beliefs, they're stopping us from growth. So I got to get rid of the limiting beliefs and only focus on the people who are ready for growth, and then focus on our growth partners. And with those growth partners, we're just coming in and taking a percentage. We eat what we kill. You don't have to pay us anything guaranteed, but everything that we make you profit-wise, we're going to bust it down. Now, those percentages, they vary. We got some people that'll give us 60% because they don't want to do anything. All they want to do is post content. And then we got some people who will only give us 30%, right? Because they have a team, they have things in place, they just want to scale. But for the most part, we're coming in and we're building an entirely new ecosystem for these people that are coming in as growth partners. Like, for example, like 19 Keys. And I can name drop because we have these relationships. Like 19 Keys, he's a growth partner. He didn't want to be a client. He didn't want to be put into an ecosystem where, in our world, we're going to have a pod, what we call pods. You're going to have an account manager. You're going to have a graphic designer. You're going to have a media buyer and a copywriter, right? You're going to have a team that's dedicated towards your projects. But that pod may have 10 clients inside of it, right? So now, you have to worry about human capital. On the growth partner side, no, it's direct. We're going to give you everything we got. We're going to put the best people on it. Not saying that we're not putting the best people on the clients, because again, everybody's making money. It's just the growth partner side is I'm really incentivized to make sure you win at all cost. I am as well for clients, but again, we're limited based on their beliefs. Over here, I don't care what your beliefs are. This is what we're doing. This is what works, and let's go.
That makes sense.
I'm about to say, sign me up, Dougie. Like that. Yeah. I don't know what to tell you. We may have to talk offline. But anyways, man, that's okay. So, man, okay, wait. Moose, that's another one because that threw me off. And all I'm thinking about is like, I got to make some changes to make that happen. Ask one more.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's important though. I mean, I think this is more so really for service providers, and I think anyone, whether you have a physical product, a service, info product, I think this really helped you to see some of the different ways that you can market yourself. But I think as a service provider, the great lesson that you just showcased there is that we all have a limited amount of time. And no matter what you charge, you could charge $100 million for your service. There's only so much time that you have. And if your goal is to make $1 billion, well, guess what? At some point, and again, I'm using exaggerated numbers just because I want to show people that at the end of the day, there's limited amount of time. So I like this, this explanation because quite honestly, I feel that you probably needed that chapter of your journey to get into the next phase, which is the one that you're entering now. Obviously, you see there's a ton of confidence. You're showing up like, okay, I'm ready to teach. I'm ready to give some serious game right now, which I think is necessary. But it's good for service providers and people who are in the space to know that you got to embrace the trenches in the sense. It doesn't pay the most or it doesn't pay the best, but it sets you up for now. So would you say people can now start with this model that you're speaking about in their projection, like, okay, start, do the service, but at some point just have that partnership or that growth partner model already set up?
Yeah, I think that, like for me, on my side, I stayed in the trenches for a long time because in our world, there's so many pieces, right? And I've mentioned those pieces, the emails, the SMS, the automations, and all of those things. I wanted to make sure I had a concrete understanding of the entire picture. Why? Because I wanted to be the most dangerous man on the internet, right? Mm-hmm. I can take any brand, any business, any offer, and take it to where people want to go at the end of the day, because I understand the entire foundational system that has to be in place. I didn't stick with just Facebook. I went to Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Snapchat, native. I wanted to learn them all because once it clicked, it clicked. Ads are ads at the end of the day. I tell people all the time, anybody can buy ads. I got people in the Philippines helping people that buy ads for some of our smaller brands. I got people, I can teach my sister how to do it. Ads are ads. It's the strategy, it's the creatives, it's all of these other things that make a brand, right? And then when you talk about like getting into the space of a client and, service providers and things of that nature, I loved being in the trenches. And it's not that I love what I do, it's a challenge, right? How can I help this brand who does lawn mowing services? And how can I help this brand who is trying to teach, courses? Like there's a difference in the strategy, but the foundation is still the same. You still need ads. You still need a website to send them to, funnel. You still need follow-up. Like it's all the same. So I think that is very important to get the experience. I think it's very important to start at the ground level and hustle. That's why I tell people don't quit your jobs. Like, get in there, learn how to be an employee, and then whenever you're ready, take that leap of faith. And like for the growth partner side of things, that's more of a who ready for the smoke and who want to go, right? That's for those people. Now, this new play that we're coming out with, this is more of more of my legacy play. I can't speak too much on it because I want to make sure that things are in place before I make that push. But this play, I'm going after the masses with this play. I'm going after all of the community, giving them an opportunity to level up. Like, my information is only one side of things, but I'm getting all of the information that I can possibly go and obtain. And we're going to put it into an ecosystem. And with that ecosystem, I honestly don't think that there's a way that you can fail, because I'm going to give you what businesses to start, and I'm going to show you how to make them profitable. So at that point, with me not niching down into one individual lane, and I have so many different verticals that I've been in, I know for a fact I can make anybody money. So now it's going to come down to the individual person. How bad do you want it? And we're going to make it extremely affordable. When I say extremely, I mean extremely affordable, right? And that's going to give anybody and their grandmas and their kids are going to have the opportunity to get out of the poverty situation that they may or may not be in. And we're going to show them how to level up.
Okay, I got my question. I got two. I got one selfish one.
Shoot them.
And then I got another one, right? Selfish. What may be the requirements to be for this growth partnership thing? Like, is there a certain criteria that the person may have to, just for the listeners, aka me, but just for the listeners out there who may want to contact you, but aka me?
Two things: mindset and already making money. Those are the only two things that I'm looking at from a growth partner standpoint. If a person comes to me and said, man, I'm making $50,000 a month, maybe I'm doing $100,000 a month, that means to me, something's working. That means to me that there is growth opportunities and there are gaps that need to be filled that I know for a fact that I can fill. And then the mindset side is scare money don't make no money. I say it all the time. Don't come to the growth partner side with limiting beliefs. Don't come to the growth partner side thinking that I'm going to hold your hand and it's going to be all salt. No, I'm going to give you the game plan. We're going to agree to the game plan, and then we're going to go. You're going to have faith in me. I'm going to have faith in you, because it's a collaborative effort. When I bring something to the table, that means that, hey, Nikki, I need you to go create these 10 pieces of content, and I need them by 2 weeks. Because I know you got to edit it, you got to do this, you got to do that. Yep. But it's a deadline system, and we cranking, right? I'm going to go build out the assets. Maybe we want to run a challenge. Maybe we want to do a webinar, whatever the case may be. I'm going to use all of my resources. I'm bringing all the resources to the table, right? In a client situation, a person has to come in and, they might have to be nickel and dimed. Do you have somebody who can build your funnel? Okay, well, we can build your funnel. Here's how much it's going to cost. Over here on the growth partner side, no, we get into it. Why? Because we get our percentages. We're incentivized to go out, and create, and produce. So those two things, mindset and already making money.
Okay, that's not a problem. But that's not a problem. All right. So here's the actual legit question, and then we're gonna close this out soon. But okay, what would you say? Because you kind of hinted like each thing has its own season. Like courses had a huge season, right? What would you say is dying in this time frame? And what is something that we have to look out for that we should, either start researching or put in play for the new year that's coming up?
Got it. What's dying? Gurus. Scammers, the fakes, the people who really don't deliver value, the people who don't know or don't do what they say that they do. Though that's about to come to an end very quickly. So if you got the guru status associated with your name, I hope you tighten up. And I tell people all the time, they better tighten up them offers, because the plays that we about to run, dangerous, vicious, domination, market correction. That's all I'm going after right now, is those key factors. And then as far as that last question, as far as what should people be like. What I see right now is the biggest opportunity is community-based courses. Now, I'm not talking about having a course and having a community. I'm talking about merging the two. Think of it like college, right? If you're an athlete, we had to go to study hall. We had to do all of these things to, we had guidance counselors, we had all these things because like people are getting into this entrepreneurship space and they may, want to go do credit. They may want to go do Airbnb, but that might not be what they actually want to do. They just heard that it was a good opportunity. Well, if you have a guidance counselor, what's the reason for them to be there? And they're going to come there and they're going to figure it out for you, which then they would then tell you your major, right? So we're taking some of the concepts of the everyday American dream and life and things that are happening right now, and we're bringing it into community-based programs. So the community side of things, again, you have your tribe and people who just rock with you, and then you have your programs and they either choose to buy or not. But the community-based, like combining those two, it's having the people engage with each individual component and having people who can answer questions to each individual component, which then gets them more and more to that finish line, right? The biggest thing in our space is people don't complete the courses. They don't complete the things that are being given to them. It's not because they don't want it. It's because they're not being pushed. So one of the big components that we're working on right now, and I got an app, I got all these things coming out, it's gamification. How can you get someone to complete a program? Because obviously, if you're putting together a good enough program that is going to give them a transformation at the end of it, the only thing that's stopping them in your success rate is them completing. What are you doing to get them to complete? Well, if I got a community around them cheering people on to get them to the finish line, just like the teams and all the things that happen as far as like getting people motivated, that's going to be the biggest difference maker that I see in the course space. I don't think courses are dying. I think that industry is going to continue to explode. It's just you got the wrong people teaching, and you got the people who are teaching things that don't actually do it.
Man, look, my final question is not a question, it's a comment. Thank you. I think you're starting something which is the start of people from the trenches or behind the scenes stepping out from behind the curtains and saying, all right, let me show you what really has to happen for this thing to function correctly. And quite honestly, it's needed because it's those individuals who have the most in-depth knowledge, not surface level knowledge, but in-depth knowledge that can really move and shake and turn things around. So, man, we're looking forward to hearing more and hopefully continuing this dialogue both online and offline. I don't know, maybe there's a part 2 or something that I don't know that we've ever done a part 2 on the show.
We need to. Once these growth partners really get the stats it needs, we really need to do a part 2. Jeez.
Yeah, this was fire. No, for sure. Thanks. Yeah.
Thank you.
And I'll say I got one thing because we always do this, and then I got my final comments. 3 books that has helped you from a branding and business side of things. 3 books.
Think and Grow Rich. That was like the first book that got me into the entrepreneur. Like after I got into the entrepreneurs, that was like the first book I read. Think and Grow Rich. I'm trying to think what's another good one that really got me. Believe it or not, .com Secrets, because that kind of connected some dots from Russell Brunson that really pushed me to the edge of omnichannel presence. So I give a lot of props to that book. And then the one that is getting me the most, I read it multiple times, the Art of War. I got that one from a mentor around, like, if you think about how America was built and how things are ran, is ruthless, right? And sometimes you have to have a ruthless side to get to where you want to go. Not from a literally coming and massacring, cities and things of that nature, but it's really from a mindset standpoint of, I believe in my product, I believe in the mission, I believe in what I have to bring to the table, and I'm not going to let anybody or anything get in my way.
That's good. And I would like to just say, super thank you for coming on the platform. Normally, we like to highlight people that are like just doing amazing things, especially within, the personal branding side, the business side of things. And when you like, and normally, I'm gonna be honest with you. Normally, when people are like, "Yo, can I get on the podcast?" I'm like, "No." But when you hit me, I was like, "Oh no, we got to get this conversation going." One, because I truly rock with you. Like ever since we connected, I've been following. I'll be like, "Yo, I really feel this dude." And two, I see what's about to happen, right? So I was like, "Oh, we got to bring that to here to talk about it." Because people needed that tech side of things, needed to geek out a little bit and get used to that language because that's what they need in their business. So shout out to you for spending the time with us. Normally we allow Moose to do the final words, but if you could let people know where they can find you and some final words for our audience, we would appreciate that.
Got it. I ain't got that many follows, and I always lead with that because that's more of telling people go follow me. But no, so you can find me on Instagram on Damian Watts 9, Facebook just Damian Watts. I'm pretty active on Facebook actually, which is crazy. That's where the ODs are, I believe. And then as far as like final words, the biggest thing for me right now is market correction. Like I really want to come out here and have an impact. I really want to help as many people as possible. It's not about the money at this point. I've made a lot of money. There's going to be a lot more money to be made. But with these plays, it's not a money play that I'm putting out. There will be some things that I'm going to do that are strictly money plays. Obviously, I'm in the business to make money. But this individual play, which is the mass volume play, it's all about give back, right? So that's where I talk about the one-to-one. It's really hard. Like I have information that I believe that can help every business owner online, and I'm doing a disservice by only offering it to one person or one brand at a time when I could be offering it to hundreds of thousands of people. I do believe, and I do think with every inch of freaking fiber in my bones, I think that this is going to be a massive, massive play. And I think that a lot of lives are going to be changed. It doesn't matter if you're in Kenya. It doesn't matter if you're in South America. I'm going global with this because I believe in the project and I believe in the lives that will be changed and what's going to happen from the people knowing what to do, what the roadblocks are going to be. I made it on my last post, and then I'll come to the close. I have the exact blueprint from 0 to 100,000 in a month. I have it to 0 to 100,000 in a day. I have it from 0 to 100,000 in an hour. Like I got all of the blueprints. Right. And after time, it just compounds and compounds. And the next thing you know, you're at 8 figures. So when I say 8-figure plays, I mean, I know how to get you from 0 to 8 figures. And again, it's all about having a good product, good offer, not being afraid, mindset shift. There's a lot of things that goes into it. But if you about that life, I got the solution.
I like that. That was your final words? You got that? That was it? I'm with it.